Welcome to the very first of the Business Forum events here at Bracknell Chamber of Commerce. We've just had our Business Insight event. The intention of this Business Forum is to ask the expert, effectively. Each month we will be looking at a different business topic, and we will be bringing in a particular expert from that field. So today's topic is marketing. It's a topic that's close to many people's hearts. The questions that we're often getting asked here at the Chamber is, how do I get more customers, how do I get more sales, and so on. So our expert today is Mark Robson from the Insight Group. I'll say that again, it's Mark Robson from the Insight Group. Just because I should know that name instantly. Yeah. Mark, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Graham, and thank you for remembering my name. Yes, it's going to be good.
So we have also with us Eric Burrow from HR Insights. We have one or two other questions that have been posed by people who haven't been able to stay with us this morning. But Eric, let's kick off with, first of all, with the first question.
It's a fairly straightforward, broad question, though. Has online marketing killed off the more traditional methods of marketing?
Right. I mean, that's a really interesting question, because traditional marketing has different connotations. People think of different things when they think traditional marketing, but the essence of traditional marketing is still used in online marketing. And also online marketing incorporates a lot of traditional marketing as well. You see, very recently, over the past couple of years, there's been methodology called QR scanning. And QR scanning is where you put a scan onto an advert, onto a billboard, in a window. Someone goes up with their mobile phone, scans that, and the process of scanning it takes that person online. So they're looking at a traditional marketing poster, they scan it, it takes them online, or it sends a text message, or it automatically dials a number. So it's taken the traditional marketing skills and moving it online. So I think traditional marketing is still around. What people perceive as traditional marketing may be different things, but some of that has waned. Look at publications, they're not as thick as they used to be. That's all moved online. But having moved it online, we're now seeing a plethora of different types of publications coming out. There's daily publications that come out which are more newsworthy. Waiting a week to get the news can be difficult. So it's very good, but traditional marketing is still alive and well and being used online.
So Mark, let me start with a simple question for a small, perhaps a one-man band or a small company, limited budgets, just perhaps starting out. What's the best method for them to get their message out there?
Right, okay, well if I can link back to the last question we had about traditional marketing, any company that's starting up needs to look at traditional marketing and look at the basis of marketing. And rather than just rushing out and saying, I'll do this, I'll do that, is to look at their offering. What is their offering? What makes them different? And who's going to buy it? So it's the standards. And then making sure that instead of just going out and saying, yes, let's just send out a direct mail piece, let's send out this email marketing, it's face-to-face. That's what really sells. That's what sells any new business. There's lots of networking opportunities, especially in the Thames Valley. Using the face-to-face gets the message across. When you are starting out, you have more time. You're selling yourself, you're selling your business, you're selling what you know. So really get that across. As the business expands, then you can start to support it with the types of direct marketing, with the online marketing, with the fancy websites. But it's on day one, really understand what you're offering, understand why it's different to anybody else in your market, set yourself aside a USP, a unique selling point proposition, and make sure you get that across to people, because that's what's going to set you aside, that's what's going to make people remember you.
There's such a myriad of potential marketing avenues you could take. If you've got a little bit more budget, what's the best way to start?
And the best way to start is, first of all, you receive hundreds of emails, and I bet lots of them say, we can do X, Y, Z for very little money and we'll achieve the ultimate for you. Well, there is no such thing as a free lunch. That's true in marketing as it is in everything else. So put those to one side for a second. But if you have got some more money, instead of just spending it straight away, go and talk to your audience. How do they get information about what you're providing? Do they read things? Do they go online? Do they prefer to get emails? Do they prefer printed matter? Do they like audio? Do they like video? It's really how do they like that to be delivered? Because once you understand how your audience thinks and what they're looking for, it's not what you prefer or what you think is right, it's what your audience does. Then you can say, okay, now I know how to deliver it, now I can invest in the right methodology.
Yeah, certainly. If I can pick up on that one element of that you mentioned, it's not what you like, it's what your audience likes.
Yeah.
That seems to be a real key thing. It's this traditional market research in a way.
In a way, I mean, you can talk about focus groups. The big companies, like the Lever Brothers of the world, the retail world, they will run focus groups. They'll find specific areas in a specific country to say, well, that is representative of the whole country. They'll run a focus group, which is getting lots of people and asking them questions, showing them products. The same principle and the same methodology can be done with a small group of people. You may have 2 customers. You know them, they trust you, go and talk to them, find that out. But it is the real basics of marketing, and it's exactly what you need to do. If you look at a corporate environment, when we're working with corporate customers, the key thing they have to do is to make sure that they keep their awareness and presence correct, make sure they keep their branding correct. So they'll put a lot of things in place that won't directly provide sales, but it makes sure the customers still know who they are, make sure the customers know they care about them, make sure they're getting information out to them which aren't just for sales, it's telling them about developments in the company, but it's bringing that relationship together. And that same relationship building can be done at any level. I mean, it may just be you have one customer. Well, nurture that one customer, take them out for coffee, invite them round to your office, or if you're working from home, invite them round to home. Just build up that relationship, because people buy from people, and that's what the big companies know. People buy from people. They know that a company is spending money, wants to feel comfortable they're spending it with someone that cares about them.
Great. Okay, so really nurturing that relationship is one of the key things. Certainly we try and do that particularly as well. Nurturing it in different ways. We had a conversation a few days ago about touch points.
Right.
Just explain to me a little bit about what that means.
Oh dear me, touch points are different ways of people receiving information. So it's literally how do you touch someone? How do you get that information across to them? And don't rely on just a single touch point. Don't say, well, I like email marketing because it's easy, so I'll just send out emails. That may be a way to do it, but it may not. So don't just rely on that. People take things in visually. You do a lot of work on video. People take in a lot of videos. Google have said recently that something like 63% of searches on Google are for videos. People like videos. People like audio. People like to take things home and read, so allow them to download information. So it's really making sure that you touch their different senses in different ways so that they receive information in the format that they want. Not everything's going to work for them, more than one may work for them, but make sure you hit them in different ways.
Yeah. I mean, we find that you can send the same piece of literature to the same person at 2 different times, and it will just land on their desk at the right time. There's an element of that as well. We certainly
and that's
well aware of that.
That's a point about if you go right back to who is called the god of marketing, was a guy called Philip Kotler, and he wrote The Principles of Marketing many years ago, before either you or I were born. And one of the things he said, he came up with the P's. It's price, place, promotion. It's all these things. It's making sure that you get the timing right, the price right, the place right, and the type of promotion right. If you get that right, it works. And as you say there, you can send exactly the same thing offer at a price that's right for the market to the right people. It's just the wrong time. Send the same thing again 3 days later, it's the right time. And if you look at advertising, when you read magazines or read papers, you'll see the same advert time and time again, because people don't automatically read the first advert. So they need to feel comfortable, they need to see it there many times, and then the message gets across, and then they act.
Yeah. So moving on to the way in which marketing is changing, the face of marketing is changing. Obviously we're sat, with Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Google, you've already mentioned. The concept of social networking and social media. I mean, I've heard a number of speakers here and elsewhere talk about the fact that big companies now don't control their brand, really. We've done quite a lot of work recently, which I'm not allowed to talk about actually, but with a film company. And they are absolutely stringent on their regulations and rules, that anyone's working with them that doesn't mention anything about the project or anything they're doing, because they are so concerned about maintaining their brand, because they can lose it so quickly in Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and so on. How do you advise a company to maintain their brand, or even indeed use those avenues?
I think that's the key point, is not to be scared of it. When social media first started, people were saying, oh well, it's social media, a bit like when email started. People say, oh, it's email, I'll leave that over there, it's not real marketing. And as the meteoric rise of social media happened, people started to realise it was another form of PR. It's very powerful. And we do a lot of work with corporates of setting up their social media brand, because it's just another way of controlling it. And the point you made is, don't ignore it. Don't say you can't use it. Control it. Make sure you're open. Use social media to communicate. This is another way of communicating, building that relationship. Earlier we talked about building the brand and building relationships. Use social media. There's lots of success stories out there about people. BA, for example, use social media and they monitor what people are saying, and then they go to those people and say, oh, you said something negative about a flight, or you said you had a problem here, how can we help? The upshot of that is they solve the problem, the person's comment, and they get positive brand awareness out of it and positive feedback. That person then uses their social media to say, weren't they very good? And so a big corporate needs to use the social media brand to really promote themselves correctly.
I've got a great story that highlights that very, very clearly. You were saying that they were monitoring the usage and the Twitter pages and so on. There was a cafeteria that was offering a Wi-Fi service. The service was a bit intermittent. Finally, the user got online. They started tweeting about how bad that service was. They happened to have somebody monitoring those tweets. They saw the tweet come online. And they just went over and offered a free cup of coffee. And the way in which you can handle a problem, as we all know, is almost better than getting it right first time in some ways.
Exactly. It's not being scared of the problem, not ignoring it, and not saying, well, it's not a problem. It's actually facing up to it and working with it. I think one of the things about social media, we had someone come to us very recently who said, I'm running a social media campaign and it's not working. So we said, okay, we'll sit down, and it was a reasonable sized company, and we said, well, what are you doing? And they said, well, I've got Facebook, I've got Twitter, I've got LinkedIn, I've got MySpace, I've got a blog. And I said, oh, okay, stop. How many people have you got working on it? Oh, well, I do it. Okay, right, and your job is what? And this guy was a director. So I said, how much time do you spend on it? Well, to begin with, and that was the crux. To begin with, he spent a lot of time. Now he's too busy. And if you're going to do it properly, and set your own frequency, set the channel you're going to use. You can't use all of them. If you spend 5 hours on each of them every week, you run out of the week.
Yeah.
So it's really making sure you control it like any other piece of marketing.